Okay, here's where we're at the moment with this little setup. We've changed the 10 nanofarad down to a 2.2, and this has given me a high point in the frequency of about 74 kilohertz. So certainly increase that. May even try and go a little bit higher just yet, because the higher we go, the lower they read. What I've done here, I've just got a little solar panel sitting on top of the two LEDs, which I had to change. They're both now super whites. The green one blew out the first time I tried the circuit, so I switched to 3.5 volt LEDs instead of the 2.7s. I have a 1k ohm resistor across the solar panel, and that's hooked to this meter here. And we simply want to see if, as we wind up the frequency here, whether we do in fact get more light from the LEDs, which will be indicated by the voltage across that resistor on the solar panel. And of course, same as we had the meters before, we've got 2 and 4 on the output, going to each LED, and those two are on the input that we've split with a couple of diodes, which are now underneath the board here. I've flipped the board upside down just so it's easier for me to solder bits and pieces on, and we can see where all the wires and that go. Now I have made some measurements on the coil as far as inductance. I know it's 6.5 ohms of resistance on that coil, which is quite high considering there's not a lot of wire on there. It looks a lot, but compared to our old pulse motor coils we used to wind, it's wouldn't even be half. So it's pretty high, I think, but that's what it is. Okay, so we'll turn the circuit on now. Currently are at the lowest setting on the frequency, highest setting on the voltage, and that's giving us about 4 volts each way. One LED has 3.8 volts across it, the other one has 4.2 volts across it, and the voltage coming in before the diodes is only 4.4 volts. I won't leave it here very long, because as you can see we're using a lot of current there, and the 555 starts to get a bit warm, in fact fairly warm, and on the output side pretty dismal, and we have 421 millivolts across our 1k resistor from the solar panel. So I'll start turning the frequency up now and try and get all these meters in together. Like yay first, and we can see what happens when we crank it right up to the highest frequency now. Okay, now that's flat out. So, as you've seen, the voltage started to go up and up and up until we get just before I'll back the frequency off a bit. Right about very close, right. Okay, we're starting to go back down. Right about there, which is about 54 kilohertz that I've measured. We get the highest amount on the output. meters, and also the highest amount across the 1k resistor on the solar panel. But of course our input's a lot higher as well. So if I go from the 50 to the 70 odd 74k, like there, we do indeed drop down a bit as far as our output lighting goes and our output current, but the input current goes down a long way. So apparently that's our input current at the moment, and that is what we have across the meters on our output side. So yes, the LEDs get brighter as we go up in frequency and down in current draw on the input side, and then it comes to a point when it starts to turn around where the two outputs drop and the outputs from the lights, the LEDs obviously drops, but the inputs drop a lot as well. So it's pretty interesting. Now, as far as brightness goes on the LEDs, as you will see, they are extremely bright, and like TK says, it hurts to look into them. Now, putting one of those LEDs on a 3-volt battery pack, it's certainly not that bright. It's probably got something to do with we've got about 4 volts going across them at the moment, but only 50% of the cycle, and then the other 50% the other LED comes on, of course. So lifting the frequency certainly changes the input and the load current dramatically, so I may try and find a smaller cap and go even higher again, just to see if we can actually get them to go to zero. So that's what we have at the moment. Just thought I'd throw that in there. I will include the inductance of this coil, which I've done following TK's video tutorial on it, so I'll include that in the description and also on the forum for this video. Cheers from the Tin Man.